founder at Tennis for the Kids, and today I'm gonna teach you how to detect file types in JavaScript. And it's not a simple concept as it seems, like input type file except image png, right? So it's not that simple. We are gonna add JavaScript and we're gonna understand it in deep, because we are gonna learn some new concepts that and I'm gonna teach you some things that you didn't know before this video. So let's get started. Here I have an HTML file where I have input type file id equals to input file, and we are accepting only png images. This won't work the way you want it to. For example, I have this logo.jpg. It's a JPEG image that's loading. Okay, so right now if I run my index.html, sorry about that. If I run my index.html right now and I go to choose a file, right, it won't allow me to choose logo.jpg. But there's always buts everywhere. So if I rename this and I change the extension to png, it won't make the image png. But wait, choose file. Oh my god, it is allowing me to choose a JPEG image just because I changed its extension to PNG, right? This is just not good, and hackers can take benefit of this. So today we are gonna learn how to fix this problem with some JavaScript. So I'll make this JPEG once again. Now, a thing to learn is, first of all, you need to in VS Code you need to install this extension that I'm gonna tell you to study images in deep. That is binary viewer. You need to install binary viewer, right? Very good extension. And in every image you'll see this hex button. Click this and you'll see the binary form of this hex of this image logo.jpg, right? So you just see here these 3 bytes, the first 3, ff d8 ff. These 3 will remain constant for every JPEG image. These 3 bytes will remain constant for every JPEG image, right? For PNG, the first 8 bytes will remain constant for every PNG image. So when I change this to PNG, the binary of this image did not change. That means we can take advantage of the first 3 bytes that are there in the binary of the image, right? That's how we are gonna identify the type of the image, right? So let's make this JPEG very quick, and you can make it once back to JPG or JPEG. They are both the same things, right? And GFIF also. Okay, so here I have this chart for you. So for JPEG, JPG or JPEG, FFD8FF will always remain constant. So if I go here, FFD8FF will always remain constant. And we will be using int8 unsigned for this project. So I'm just gonna select this. For PNG, 89, 50, 40, 47, 08, OA, 1A, OA. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. First 8 bytes will remain constant. And these are also called the magic numbers. For GIF or GIF, whatever you say, our first 4 bytes will remain constant. Why am I saying bits? It's bytes. So that is 47, 49, 46, 38. And for BMP, we'll have, that is bitmap, I believe, we'll have the first 2 bytes constant, that is 4248, right? So now that is clear. Now we can take advantage of the binary data of an image, right? So we can access the binary data of an image with JavaScript and identify the data type, the type of the image, whether it is JPEG, PNG, or whatever, right? So let's move on to our JavaScript file. Alright, not much of code, we just need to understand this. So here we have a normal HTML, we have this input that will take any type of image. And whenever this input will be changed, we'll call handle change and pass it the event. And we also have a paragraph tag telling what the real file type is, right? So next, I add function, I have function check, right? And in this we are accepting headers. Before I go on to this, we are gonna read. All right, let's read this only. So in this check function, we are getting the headers. What are the headers? Headers are those that I showed you. These these magic numbers are the headers. We are calling the magic numbers headers. Okay, and we're returning a function, an arrow function we are returning, in which we are accepting two things, that is buffers, right? So buffers is basically, all right, so in buffers we will get, I'm telling you prehand that in buffers, if I go to the hex, in buffers we'll get the these first eight in buffers, right? The first eight over here in unsigned integer 8 values we'll get in buffers. All right, so I'll show that to you also. The our function check, that is this return function, this return function will be saved in is png, and when we are calling this we are passing it in uint array, uint 8 array, right, in which we have those first 8. Now it has changed to ASCII, but that uint 8 array will contain the first 8 of these values. Alright, and we are also have an options parameter in which its default value is offset 0, right? So we'll see that later. And in this function that is going to be returned, we are going for every header magic number, we are gonna check if header is equals to buffers options dot offset. So whatever offset is we are on, we got the value plus the index on which we are on. So like if offset is basically like from where we want to start checking. So if for example I want to start checking from like the second index value, so we'll give offset of 2, right? So you get my point by looking at this code. All right, now this is a function that is very important. Read buffer is very important. We are getting the file, we are getting the start value, and then we are getting the end value. By default starts value is 0 and end value is 2. Now we are in this, we are returning a promise, right, in which we have resolve reject, right? And in this we are gonna define reader. This will be a file reader. So we are creating an object of file reader that will allow us to read the binary data of our image, right? And whenever this reader is loaded, when this reader loads, we're going to resolve reader.result. So we're just going to pass reader.result, and we're going to just going to resolve reader.result. But if we face an error, we are just going to give it reject. And in the end, we are getting reader.read as array buffer file.slice start to end. So what is this? Alright, so what are we getting over here? So what we are doing in reader, we are reading as array buffer. So we want to read these binary values, we'll have to call read as array buffer, right? So we are calling read as array buffer, and from we'll slice the file right? So we'll slice the file, and we only want the values that from the start that we mentioned till the end, right? That part only we want the reader to read, right? That's the part that we want the reader to read, right? So this was our read buffer. Now things will get much more clear over here. We have a constant is png, that is a function. This is a function because check function is returning as a function, and these are our magic numbers. Right now we want to check for a png. We could also have checked for a jpeg by giving the magic numbers of a jpeg image, right? But we are checking is png. We could also have is jpeg, right? That's for later. So we have all the magic numbers of png, and in is png we are getting this function, right? Where it wants a buffers and an options a parameter value, right? So when we'll call it is png, we'll go into it. Now next we have real file element, and this is our real file type. It's selecting this p, right? So it's selecting this paragraph tag. Next we have async, right? So we are again working with promises. This is an async function that we are creating, handle change, that we called whenever this we get a value in our input that of files, right? Whenever we are inputted a file, we'll call handle change. That is an async function. And in this we are declaring a constant file, right? Which file we want which file do we want to detect is a png. We want to detect the file that was entered. So whatever event there was, its target element, that is our input element, dot files 0. So whatever files, the list of files that came, the first file we are accessing, right, from the list of files. Next we have a buffers. Oh, we have our buffers constant, right? Which in which we are awaiting, we are reading the buffer, we are passing it the file who we want to read, and we are giving it 0 and 8. So what this will essentially give us, let's log this out to make this even more clear. So we log our buffers. All right. Now if I run main.html, if I choose a file, just ignore the result. Right now we have to understand, right? Now in the console, if we check, we have our array buffer, right? In this we are getting all the types of buffers. We are getting int 8 array, we are getting uint 8 array, we are getting int 16 array, we are getting int 32 array. So we are getting all the types of buffers that are there, that we saw in VS Code over here. We had int 8, int 16, int 32, int 64. So we are only getting int 8, unsigned int 8, int 16 and int 32, right? So we are using uint 8. So because we are using unsigned integer 8, we're gonna create a variable that could be named anything, and we're creating a new unsigned integer 8 array, and we are passing it buffers. So from buffers it will only take in the unsigned integer 8 array, it will only take the values that were there in our unsigned integer 8 array. So all the values that were in this unsigned integer 8 array, that only we will take in this uint 8 array. That only we'll get. So I'll just log this out also to show you. So if I choose a file now, you can see we are getting this values that when we will do this int 8 unsigned, 255, 216, 255, 224, 0, 16, 74, 70, right? So we are getting the first 8 values that we wanted. The unsigned integer 8 values. First 8 unsigned integer 8 values. And finally what we need to do, we are just gonna change the text. So real file element dot inner text is equals to the type of whatever the file name was is png uint 8 array. So the array that we received in which we had uint 8 values, unsigned integer 8 values, that array we are passing to is png buffers. So options will take the default value offset 0, but buffers we are passing that uint 8 array. And in this we are checking that uh, if every that if, like for example, this, if we are on the first element, if this magic number is equals to a buffer's whatever offset that was plus index. So if the magic number is equivalent to buffer's magic number plus index, so like if if our first magic number, that is the 0th element magic number, equals to the 0th element buffer, and we're gonna do this again and again and again and again and again and again, right? And if this gives us true, then the will show image png, right? If this is true everywhere, right? If this gives us true all the time, then we'll get the overall true, right? So we'll get over here true, and when this is true, we'll show that the type is image png, or else we'll show that whatever the file's type was, that is the type of the image, right? So we are done with the code. Let's test this out. For example, right now I'll okay, first let me change this to png. If I choose the file, it is showing me image png, right? So this I wanted to show you is wrong. We could for this we need to fix this, we could create another constant, that is jpeg, right? We could have created is jpeg also, and we could have given the magic numbers of jpeg. I'll show you after the testing also. I'll try to show you after the testing of this, right? But right now, if I take a PNG image, so where are some PNG images? Okay, I have all PNG images, sorry, JPEG images. Let's just download any PNG image. PNG image. Images. Is this a PNG image? Save images. Maybe. Okay, in YT, we're gonna save this. Yes, it's a PNG image. For example, now this I'll rename to JPEG. Sick image, by the way. If I rename this to JPEG, and then it is showing that it is a PNG image. So our model or code is perfectly working. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Now you're gonna ace this, right? You're gonna detect the exact image types. If I'll try to create an is JPEG now. Is JPEG, right? And in this, we'll have chart.webp 0xff 0xd8 0xff. Alright, 0xff 0fd8 0xff. Alright, now we are gonna delete this, and we don't need to give these because we have the default values over here. Now, because this was a JPEG image and I renamed it to PNG, this should still show us that it is JPEG. First of all, I'll have to change this to this JPEG. Alright, so now I renamed a JPEG image to PNG. Now let's see if it shows that it is a JPEG image. Okay, first we'll need to reload this. Alright, and now we're gonna access this. Alright, the type of logo.png is PNG. Let's see what's issue. The issue. Alright. Okay, I'll just get back to you. I just found out that end was default value was 2, but we had to give 3, right? Because slice does not include the end value, right? So pretty cool, but now this should work. Yes. So I had this JPEG image, right? And alright, so I had this JPEG image, I changed this to PNG, and now it is showing that the type of it is JPEG. So now this is also working, and thank you guys. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please don't forget to smash the like button, share this video, and I'll see you in the next one.